Oh, dude, shrimp. I haven't had shrimp in a while. Yeah, I live in Maryland. I actually haven't had Maryland crab, believe it or not. I've been here for going on 10 months. I still haven't had Maryland crab. I need to change it. Yep. Give me the call. I'll go mute because I know you have some issues with Discord and OBS. So. Yep. Just give me the countdown.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the beautiful Emilia-Romagna region of Italy for tonight's Italian Grand Prix for the Formula C World Championship. I'm Matthew Nordberg. Joining me up in the booth for tonight's broadcast this evening is Keith Brubaker. We have a good show here on course tonight at the Autodromo Enzo in Dino Ferrari, better known as Imola for us English speakers, is around this 19-corner, 3.02-mile track. There's tons of action to be found and plenty of iconic corners as well. Keith, great fight going on in the championship right now, and potentially the chance to clinch it for some drivers.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what I've been doing, some of the math behind the scenes. You know, we do some work as casters, don't worry, we love to get up to date. And like you were saying, some of these battles, there are literal 1-point battles between, it looks like P4, P6, P7, P9, so the battles are going to be seen out on track tonight, and you were saying, if I was doing my math correct, if Alif wins both championships, or both races tonight, and his teammate Cale Davison does not get second in both of these races, I believe, if my math is correct, I could be wrong, Alif will clinch the CIL title this evening. So it's going to be some very interesting racing, especially around a track like this that may not be as liked on the iRacing calendar, as it is a rather tricky downforce-centric track. But who knows? You saw what happened the last couple of weeks. We never know coming into these races. We could have a new winner. We could have a dominant rate of Ball State. It all depends as we're getting ready to start off this qualifying session.
For sure. Their drivers are now beginning their outlaps here around Imola. As you see on your screen right now, that's Muhammad Alif in that red and white Ball State number 12 car. Going down into kind of the middle sector of this track here. It's going to be a very interesting track. Lots of chicanes, and I think chicanes make it difficult and easy to overtake at the same time. Because once you get side by side, if you have that inside line, a lot of these corners, it's almost guaranteed you can make the pass, but it's not always guaranteed around here, especially with some of the talent levels of these drivers.
Yeah, and talent is definitely going to be the name of the game tonight, especially with the track. Like I said earlier, it's a downforce-heavy track. I was actually talking with my teammate Aiken Lamar earlier this, well, I guess it was afternoon or evening. He was saying that some of these corners are rather tricky to drive, and if you're not good with your pedal, you're going to possibly lose out on a couple extra seconds as you're getting that wheel spin. And you're going to see drivers, some example like Alif, who has shown a lot of that skill, is going to struggle a lot less like a newer driver like our newcomer Charles Wimberley. So well, it's going to be interesting to see which one of these drivers can master these skills through this tricky track.
For sure, as now we ride on board with our championship leader, Muhammad Alif, as he begins his first flying lap, already through the first chicane at Tamburello down here into the back half of the track, into the Villeneuve chicane, this quick left-hander and hard on the brakes into the right-hander here of the chicane, and then down to Toast. So the pretty much one of the better overtaking opportunities on the track. You have this quick left-hand hairpin. You want to get to that curb as quickly as possible and use as much of the track on exit. You see those big wide exit curbs here, Keith.
Yeah, this coming into here is a lot of heavy braking, but especially coming around this turn, you can definitely take it with speed and make sure you use that outside lane take as much opportunities as the curbing. And then we're coming up to, I believe this is going to be turn number 10 or 11. You want to continue to go fast into here, go as wide as possible into 13. And then up here, this is one of my least favorite parts of this track personally, is you have to slam on the brakes. Is you got to take a very oddly turn, but you want to eat that curb. And if you go a little bit too wide, it's going to give you track limits. But Leaf looks like he's all right as he did go out in the curb. And you're back onto full throttle coming down into the last two corners. This is corner 17 and 18. I've been told by my teammate that 18 is a little tricky, so it's going to be very interesting to see coming into the race how people handle it, especially on those cold tires coming off. But it looks like Alif has mastered this corner, taking all the curbing, and it looks like he's got a nice bit of draft from right above him. So we're going into, I don't really call this a turn, but what I've read, that's turn 19, and we've completed the lap. And it does look like Alif has put in... let's see what his time is. It does look like Alif did put the top time in at a 1:45.187, so looks like Alif has got a very fast pace this evening.
Yeah, for sure. That's not untypical for our Muhammad Alif. He's been at the top of the timing towers for a lot of this season, as he has a couple of his Ball State teammates around him as well. Right behind him is Cale Davidson out of Ball State, about half a second behind Alif. And then Bradley Skinker from Ball State as well in fourth. He is a couple tenths behind as well.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see. I know talking at the booth in the last couple of races, Alif has said he's been helping out his teammates. So I'm going to be very curious to see, does that experience play in again once tonight? And I don't know if has maybe Alif done that math that he may not have helped, not intentionally, but may not have helped Cale Davison as much as he knows he is going for that championship win tonight. Or are they going to continue to help each other as we are starting to see some other drivers cross the line? And we're just currently sitting on board, currently P7, Drexel University's Jason Wallet, as he's going into the... that really fast turn, and we'll see how he takes it. And it looks like he didn't indeed take all the curbing, as it does look like right behind him, whoever that was, did not. So, but yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see these battles on track. It does look like we have already a little bit of a split in qualifying, and is that going to play into tonight's action?
Yeah, for sure. As out of Aqua Minerale comes Jason Walton right behind him. That's Andrew Burrell from Clemson University in the 888 car with the purple and orange car. And then behind the spin from one of the Valparaiso cars, I believe that was... not quite sure. We'll get an update on who that could have been, that pink car. But looking at another driver currently on a flying lap, Robert Morris's Tyler Pliggin-Smith exits Aqua Minerale down towards the Varianta Alda chicane. This is probably the tightest chicane on the track. It's going to be very difficult for our drivers to navigate around there tonight, as you really have one line to that chicane there, Keith, and it's pretty much clobbering both curves as much as you can without spinning out.
Indeed, and that's very much a choke point on this track. So that's where you either have to just accept the fact that you're not going to win this battle, or risk crashing out. As you were saying, it's a hard turn. We see right in front of Killingsmith somebody spinning. I'm not sure who that was, so it's very unfortunate for that. But it does look like this Robin Mort machine is going to be able to finish out his lap, and let's see what time he gets. Did he improve? It does not look like he improved that lap, unfortunately. So I wonder, did that spin maybe factor in for this drivers? Now we're jumping on to our fourth place, Alex Hillnar, who's been... Oh, he ate that curb, so that lap may have been invalidated, as it does look like he went wide. But a lot of these guys look like they're trying to find their pace. And a little fun fact, I was talking with Alex earlier. He actually just bought this track. So considering he's currently sitting fourth, that tells me that he is a rather, solid driver with this F4 car. So I'm excited to watch him drive, as it's his first time officially driving on this track.
Yeah, this track is a familiar one, though, for motorsports fans, obviously. Formula One planned to come here this year, but floods in the Emilia-Romagna region canceled that Grand Prix this year. But in the past, Formula One has come here, starting during the COVID pandemic, but as well as the early 2000s, of course. Iconic races here between Alonso, Schumacher, and well into the pretty much the early to late 90s is kind of the golden age of this track. But as the Formula One cars have gotten bigger, the racing around here has gotten a bit less exciting, but these Formula 4 cars provide plenty of power and downforce to make racing around here super exciting around the entire track. Really, every corner is an overtaking opportunity if you're brave enough.
Yeah, and you were saying about all the Formula One actions. We could definitely not forget that moment between George Russell and Valtteri Bottas a few years ago, the battle for that Mercedes seat. And I'm very hopeful. We don't have rain in this situation, but I'm very hopeful a situation does not happen like that into that first turn, as that is a very tricky turn. As looks like the Valparaiso University driver of Ricky Paws is out there just kind of, sticking in 9th place, which is, especially a track like this, I think, honestly, sitting a midfield pack in this track is going to be helpful, getting that downdraft. And if you can stay behind somebody, third year isn't the best for the machine, but having that draft, especially in these cars, is helpful. You can't quite bump draft in these cars like you can in the next-gen cars, but still, having that slipstream is super helpful, especially for fast times.
Yeah, and one thing to note around here is that you do see some of those sausage curbs on the apexes of some of these corners, especially into the chicanes, mainly turn 1, the Tamburello chicane, as well as the Villeneuve chicane, turns 4 and 5. You got those sausage curbs there, as we see Ricky Paz clobber over one of those sausage curbs, and that could damage your car if you're not careful. So watch out for any drivers who go wide in the chicanes to see if they have any damage on their car that affects them throughout the course of a race here tonight.
Yeah, and iRacing curbs, we haven't had the 3D update yet, but iRacing curbs are still not pleasant to drive over, and you very much feel it. And the damage, especially a track like this with downforce, is very important. So I would not be surprised if Ricky Paulus does not get out the rest of this lap and is going to have to be settled with the times. As we're sitting on board with Alexander Diamond right now from Drexel University, as we're coming into that very tricky last braking zone that you want to kind of eat that curb and make sure you accelerate through. And again, this curb right here, I've been hearing a little bit of responses from some of the drivers that it's tricky, but it looks like Alexander Diamond was pretty easy, handled it. And let's see if he's going to be able to improve his time. Oh, correction. That was actually his outlap, so he's not going to improve his time, but he's going to go try to probably put in his last lap. It does look like the dominance of Mohamed Alif is going to continue, which it'll make things interesting for sure for that championship battle. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, Alif is a super talented driver. I think he's shown it time and time again this season, just how much pace he has in these Formula 4 cars. Really every type of track. I think last week at Watkins Glen, obviously not his week, but that track is such a power track where the draft really can kind of drag cars along who maybe don't necessarily have the pace under braking or in the corners compared to maybe Alif normally would be. But this might be another one of those situations where we see Alif pull off into the distance if he gets the chance. But obviously he has some competition behind him. Cale Davidson, his Ball State teammate, currently only 3/10 behind Alif, and obviously qualifying pace doesn't necessarily translate to race pace all the time. So if Davidson's able to kind of keep that pace, only maybe a tenth or two behind Alif the entire race, all it's going to take is one mistake, and we'll see a bit of a fight at the top of the field. As right now we see Charles Wembley from Guilford College making his way around Tamburello right now, currently sitting in the 11th spot, a newcomer to the CIL, making his second race tonight.
Yeah, and you were saying with Mohamed, if he has Cale Davison, Lucas Moody, and Brandy Skinker right behind him, so it's going to be interesting. That battle between not just for the championship, but that team battle really has to be kind of clicking in the back of all four of those guys' heads, as they're all relatively close in the championship. And it's got to be interesting having a large team like that to have all that support that somebody like Wembley here may not have. As Wembley does unfortunately look like he tried to get on the gas a little too hard coming into that fast corner, and unfortunately it looks like he's going to have to stick with his time as Athena Leclerc is able to get their lap time in, and it looks like a lot of these drivers are just kind of accepting their times. And I mean, I don't blame them. A lot of these times do look like it's going to be a very competitive pack, and I'm excited. I don't know about you, but this is a fun track, and it's going to be a track of who can understand the downforce and who can get their tires up temperature quickly.
Yeah, as our qualifying session has now come to an end, as the Ball State front two rows lockout again. We saw this last week at Watkins Glen, and it's happened here tonight, Keith. But you're running through the grid for the first of two races tonight here at the Italian Grand Prix. It's Muhammad Ali on pole position for Ball State University with a 1:44.944. He set a slightly quicker lap time right at the death of qualifying to put him on the front spot. Cale Davidson from Ball State University right behind him in the second position, and Lucas Moody and Bradley Skinker round out the second row for Ball State to lock out the top four positions. Alex Hallinar is the top alumni in the field in fifth from Binghamton, and Jake Cummings, who's outside, in sixth for Wingate. Alexander Diamond in seventh for Drexel University. Eighth will be Esteban Munoz for Florida International. Ninth will be Athena Leclerc for St. Clair College, and 10th will be Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology. Aiken Lamar from Howard Community College comes home in 11th in qualifying, and Charles Wimbley, the newcomer to the CIL, will start right to his outside in 12th. Back half of the grid, Ricky Paz in 13th for Valparaiso University. In 14th is Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris. Mark Turek from Penn College of Technology in 15th. Jason Wallet, 16th for Drexel. 17th will be Tyler Klingensmith from Robert Morris University. And 18th, Ryan Bannon, the third car from Penn College of Technology in the field. Robert Kiesel Jr. will be in 19th for Florida International. Stuart McFall from Auburn in 20th. Andrew Burrell in 21st for Clemson. 22nd, also from Clemson, will be Nicholas Stockner. And then Tristan Leclerc from St. Clair College rounds out your grid here as we are about to get going here for the Italian Grand Prix. Keith, about 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this start, as this track is, again, about getting that downforce and the heat in the tires. It does look like we're still missing a couple people gridding up on the field, so I'm going to be very curious to see, are there possibly a couple of drivers maybe starting from the pits, or are they, there we go, a couple people are starting to grid up, so I believe we're about to get the lights going red, so let's hope these lights aren't as long-lasting as that Formula 1 race this weekend, as we had to wait quite a while. So, looks like people are getting ready to go. Here we go. The lights are on. And take it away, Matt.
Yeah, the lights come on. 3, 4, 5 red lights on the timing tower. And we are greeted here from the Italian Grand Prix. A great start from Muhammad Ali as they steam under this bridge right now. They go 3 wide further back in the pack. I think that's Jake Cummings falling through the field right now as they go single file into the first corner. The Ball State teammates all in a nice orderly manner, but further back in the pack, side by side through the first chicane. And I think I've heard contact, but I'm not quite sure who's involved. It looks like Alexander Diamond from Drexel University is currently falling through the field right now, so we'll see what happened to him. But right now at the front, it's Muhammad Ali who leads his Ball State teammates right now.
Yeah, and it looks like, I think I saw a little bit of wheel spin from Cale Davidson, so that's unfortunate for that. As we're going, let's see people go wide. I think that is Austin DeLong of Penn College, Collegiate Technology, and he is out with some damage, and I wonder if Floto is. We're just jumped aboard with Aiken Lamar, who has, like I said, I was talking to him earlier, was struggling a little bit, so we'll see if he can keep that position as these battles are heating up. And let's see, is he going to be, he's coming in to this little bit of a tricky braking zone, but looks like he's got the advantage coming into it and stayed on track and is trying to find that gap. As again, these Penn College technical cars are having struggles as Ryan Bennon just went offline, but unfortunately for him, his car is fine, as it does look like, unfortunately, Austin DeLong did DNF for this race.
Yeah, poor first lap for the Penn College of Technology. Austin DeLong spins on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane, and then his teammate Ryan Bannon goes wide at turn 10. That puts him a couple spots further down the field than he'd like to be. But right now, closest battle on track looks like it's between Jake Cummings from Wingate University trying to make a move here on Esteban Munoz from Florida International down into the two penultimate corners of this track. Looks like a decent defense there from Esteban Munoz. He'll be able to hold on down this long stretch. A bit of a moment there for the Panther Esports driver, and that's going to give Jake Cummings the opportunity to make a move here around the outside of turn 19 as they come across the line to end lap 1 right now. It's Muhammad Ali in the lead, followed by his 3 Ball State teammates of Davidson, Moody, and Skinker right now as Jake Cummings is making a move for 6th.
Yeah, we're going into a tricky corner here, so depending on what happens, looks like Jake does have the inside line, but Esteban Munoz is going for it. It does look like he was successful, and Jake Cummings just lost all of that progress, but you know what? It's only lap 1 of the race, so who knows? It does look like he is getting challenged from Charles Wimbley from Guilford College, and it's a 3-way battle for a very highly needed points position, as it does look like a little mistake did come from Munoz, and Cummings is looking like he's going to take advantage, but this corner is an inside track corner, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to, as it almost looks like he was going to spin, but it looks like he caught it. So, and it does look like our newcomer, Wimbley, here is going to maybe try to go for a dive on Jake Cummings as we're coming into a very quick turn as he falls back.
Yeah, turn 10 here at the top of the hill very tricky corner. It's almost blind, and you can't really see the exit of the track, but down into Aqua Minerale for these cars fighting over 6th, 7th, and 8th right now. This pack being led by the Panther Esports driver Esteban Munoz. Is further up ahead, looks like Alex Hallinar is trying to make a move on the Ball State driver of Bradley Skinker through the next chicane, the Alta chicane, and he can't quite get it done. Binghamton is going to have to settle for 5th right now, but I'm sure that fight is only going to get hotter over the next couple laps, as it looks like Hallinar is going to try to launch a move down here in the next corner.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the numbers here. I'm very curious to see, because Hallinar is currently leading the alum on right now, so it does look like Hallinar is battling for a top position. So I'll be curious to see how much he tries to battle this student driver Brady Skinker for those extra points. But it does look like Skinker may have made a little bit of a mistake, so Hallinar is probably going to take advantage of it. And it does look like we're going to have some action going into that first turn, so he's going to be on the brake sooner. We'll see. It does look like Hallinar does have a little bit of an advantage, and I'm very impressed by Hallinar's driving. As he does
Hallinar spins!
Oh!
First chicane, it's Alex Hallinar from Binghamton University trying to make a move on Bradley Skinker from Ball State. Spins. No contact, though. Just some worn tires now, and from 5th all the way to 12th right now for Binghamton University. That's not what he wanted to see happen.
Yeah,
so you see a car off in the background there as well.
That's what I was going to say. I'd be very curious to see how he's going to handle this, as he told me earlier he had just bought this track today, and unfortunately it looks like a commentator's curse may have come a little too early on that, unfortunately. And as we're sitting on board, let's see what happens. And I think, honestly, like I was saying, just the lack of the track knowledge may have kicked in there, even though this is a very popularly known track and sim racing. It's always a little different, as, just lost it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looked like he got in there a little bit too deep, maybe, locked the rears, and that just sent him spinning, as once those rear tires stop spinning, you pretty much lose all grip. But he's right on the back of this fight for the 8th spot right now. Look at how much chaos is going on. Oh, almost contact there between himself and Mark Turek. That's another alumni right now in the field, so they are scored in the Alumni Championship. But trying to make a move down the inside here at the Varianta Alta chicane. Looks like he's going to get a very nice move done. Alex Hallinar up into 11th now after spinning from 5th, and we got a fight between Cummings and Munoz again.
Man, this battle is going to be running all day, and I think Jake, again, is wanting those extra little bit of points, as, points are helpful, but it does look like that battle is going to be continuing heating up. Munoz is a student, and Jake is a alum, so it's two different battles in the point scheme, but it's still the same battle on track, because it does look like Munoz has had a better exit out, but Cummings is known to send a little bit of dive bombs, and I know watching him in the Cup Series, he knows how to send it. It's just, does he know how to send it in one of these cars? As it looks like he's going to give Munoz the advantage, but that is a corner that you can take advantage of going on the outside lane, as he's just right back on top of him, as Munoz is almost looking like he's starting to catch up to that Ball State University driver, Brady Skinker, so who knows where this is going to lead.
Yeah, Bradley Skinker was under pressure earlier by Alex Hallinar, who's put himself up into 9th now, doing a very good job. There's a bit of a dive from Munoz. Contact between Ball State and Florida International down at Tosa. Both cars in the kitty litter on the outside of the corner. Munoz missing his rear wing. Absolute calamity there.
I think Munoz, unfortunately, might get... Oh, we have a spin right in front of him. But unfortunately, I think with Munoz, I think he's going to have to retire that car. I know iRacing probably has thrown him the orange meatball, and when your back wing is damaged like that, they're saying the car's toast. So I think Munoz, unfortunately, is going to have to go to the garage and just hope for the next race with good points. I will say, it is quite impressive, though, how many of these drivers are still sticking around with some of the chaos I was watching in practice. They're respecting each other and respecting the boundaries.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a replay of the chaos that happened right there between Munoz and Skinker heading down into Tosa. This is through the previous chicane. It looks like maybe a bit of a moment there from the 11 car of Bradley Skinker, and then Esteban Munoz tries to send it down the inside, and he just locks up the tires and takes Skinker with him.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to be very interested. It looks like Skinker... Oh, he had a broken. It looks like Skinker didn't get any damage, but it looks like Skinker, unfortunately, had to retire his cars. I did see that tire pop off, and we had a spin from that rejoin, so I'll be very curious to see if that was on Munoz, the bad rejoin, or if they deemed that it was just a racing incident from the spin. So we're sitting on board with Munoz, who sends it into the inside and, just misses his braking point. So unfortunately, I think that's going to be an incident on Munoz and nothing on Skinker, as Munoz has made it to the pits, so good on him. As we're now jumping on board with a battle between Nick Stockner and Alexander Diamond, it's does look like things are about to get interesting going into that very famous turn for incidents.
Yeah, we see Nick Stockner have to settle for the 14th spot right now as Drexel University moves up one more position into the 13th spot right now. Battle between Aiken Lamar and Andrew Burrell right ahead of them in Tosa right now. We saw that incident last lap between Skinker and Munoz. That's Ball State and Florida International. So right now, Ball State still locking out the podium 1, 2, 3, but unfortunately lost the 4th as Aiken Lamar looks to the inside of Andrew Burrell here, down into turn 10, trying to use the outside to carry some momentum to the next corner. And Andrew Burrell for Clemson University will hold on to the 8th spot for now. But this battle, closest on track at the moment as they exit Aqua Minerale, 5/10 the gap as they head up to the next chicane. And I think Burrell's going to try to use this time to pull away now.
Yeah, I think he is, and especially coming into this corner. It looked like Aiken, unfortunately, had a little bit of a rough exit out of that interesting chicane, and it does look like Burrow's starting to pull away. So unfortunately for Aiken, that battle might be over for now, but who knows? He might be able to find some pace towards the end as we're jumping on board the battle for P1. Believe it or not, this is going to be a team versus team battle, but we've seen actions in the past. These guys are very, very solid drivers against each other, and they're very respecting it. And I love to see this battle, especially for that point championship. I would love to see maybe Cale Davidson get a little bit of a point boost and make that battle for P1 a little bit more interesting, as it does look like Alif did have a better exit out. But again, who knows? These guys are teammates. As Cale almost loses, that is a very good save. But like I said, these guys are teammates, so this battle might not be really a battle as much as Cale is just staying on top of Alif and keeping up pace with him.
Yeah, well, you know, last week Alif had to deal with cars behind him, kind of using the slipstream to really stay in touch and really attack for the lead. Maybe it's happening again here tonight. Maybe the straightaways here, as Cale Davidson goes off the track there. Maybe the straightaways here are just long enough for for Cale Davidson, I should say, to stick right behind his Ball State teammate, have him drag him along, pull him away from the fight for the last podium spot in third, and see if he can challenge for the lead later on. But he's lost a little bit of ground this lap.
Yeah, and I know from my own time driving this track, this track eats tires alive. It shouldn't be a factor in such a short sprint race, but who knows? With some of these spins and some of these moves these guys have had to do, these cars do eat tires naturally. So we might be seeing a little bit of tire struggles towards the end, and this might just be a move of them, using each other's draft. We're jumping on board with Nicholas Spinelli of Robert Morris University, and it does look like he is currently battling with Jason Wallet from Drexel University. So. But these guys, this is a student versus alum battle. But again, these battles ultimately are battles on track. You don't really care if it's an alum or a student. You're there for the battles, and you're there for good racing. It does look like Penalty had the better exit and is catching up to the back of that Drexel University cars. We're coming into the tricky corners of 17 and 18.
Yeah, Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris University currently chasing down Jason Waller for that 10th spot, and that's the reverse grid pole for our second race tonight. Top 10 do get inverted after race 1, so you do want to be in that 10th position, not only for that invert, but you get a championship point as well, as now the gap is closed to within 0.5 of a second for the 172 car from Robert Morris University. Can he get to that rear wing of the Drexel University car in front? Not this time around. He's definitely too far back into the Tamburello chicane to make a move here, but we see a pretty good section of corners there from Patinella as he gets a decent exit, and he closes down a little bit on Jason Wallet, but still he's going to have to use the next couple corners to continue to set this move up.
Yeah, and we're going into some of the fun, fast turns here that you got to trust your downforce and let your tires squeal a little bit, as it does look like Patinella's just kind of enjoying that drift. Does look like Wallet may have broken a little bit sooner than Patinelli does, so it's going to be interesting, as it does look like there's a little bit of battle behind, but we're sitting on board with this battle. I wonder if things are going to get spicy, as Aiken Lamar, like I said, just is battling back there with Nick Stockner, so I'll be curious to see does Nick Stockner charge up and come join this battle, because this battle's starting to only heat up, and who knows, with how talented Stockner is in this car, and even both cars that we run in the season, anything is indeed possible.
Yeah, speaking of charging, we can't forget the battle further up the field right now. Alex Hallinar, we saw him spin in turn 1 earlier. He's now made his way back towards the top 5, trying to make a move for the 6th position here on Robert Kiesel Jr. out of Florida International, the number 42 car, defending here in the penultimate corner against the Binghamton University car. We'll see if that gap grows or shrinks. It looks like it's grown right now, so a great exit from the Panther Esports driver of Robert Kiesel Jr. as Nicholas Patinella is now back to within 3/10 of that 10th spot.
Yeah, and Patinella is just surging here, so I'll be very curious to see going into that first turn who takes it, because like the Patinella does look like he's been having the better exits since he's gained up time, and he's gonna try to send it on that Drexel University car. And first turn, it does look like the Jason Wallet does have the outside lane, but it looks like Patinella did get the advantage, so he's gonna take the lead. But these turns are tricky, as you can see that Drexel University car is coming right back at him, and right on top of him in the draft. And these turns are a little bit deceiving, because you might think you have the advantage, but the inside line is powerful, but that outside line is good, as Patinella goes wide, so he came off the track and lost some time, as Jason Wallet does get that position back, but maybe not as easily as he thought, as Patinella is still taking that position lead, as it does look like the car right behind him, I believe that is Nick Stockner possibly, or is that maybe that's Alexander Diamond, is going to be loving this battle, because it means he can catch up and possibly battle for that reverse pole position.
Yeah, that's the Drexel teammate of Jason Wallet. Wallet's going to look the inside here, but he's going to be put on the outside for the next corner. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make this move around the outside, and he does. A very good move from Jason Wallet, but he looks like Robert Morris University is able to get back to that rear wheel and maybe get a nose inside, as Jason Wallet has done a fantastic job of defending from Robert Morris University. Down into the next chicane, though, can he defend for another set of corners? And yes, he can. A good exit for the 76 car right now, and he's hoping his Drexel teammate Alexander Diamond can start attacking Nicholas Patinella here, and maybe use that as an opportunity to scamper away and really consolidate that 10th spot.
Yeah, and especially the fact that they're teammates. I'd be very curious to know is maybe Wallet maybe driving a little bit slower and using the advantage of it. It does look like Robert Kiesel Jr. is going in for possibly a lap track time. Who knows? This track is a little bit tricky on the track limits, I heard, as it does look like Alexander Diamond is starting to catch up to Patinella. So who knows what's going to happen, as it does look like he's just sticking behind in that draft. Is going into turn one, he thought about it, as like, probably not, as there's a lockup from Wallet. So it's going to be interesting to see, does Wallet have that advantage? Wow, what a save from Patinella there. And we're sitting on board watching, and you can't beat this camera angle with such a good battle like this, like you saw last week with Josh.
Yeah, Patinella a little bit wide in turn one. That's obviously going to hurt him on the exit, as he does a great job here in the Villeneuve chicane to maybe potentially send a move up the inside of Tosa, but not quite close enough, as Jason Wallet a little wide, a little wary of the dive bomb potential from Robert Morris University. But Robert Morris University is now going to have to worry about a dive bomb potentially from the other Drexel car of Alexander Diamond, heading up into turn 10. Quick left-hander, not quite there for Diamond this time, as these drivers continue to fight. And we saw the fight between Alex Hallinar and Robert Kiesel Jr. earlier. Obviously, Kiesel Jr. in the pits now, but prior to having to pit, Robert Morris is wide in Aqua Minerale. He's going to have to relinquish that now 10th spot due to a penalty for Robert Kiesel Jr. But just finishing up that thought before I forget, we saw the battle between Hallinar and Kiesel Jr. Hallinar was able to get past Kiesel Jr. before he had to take a drive-through.
Yeah, it does look very interesting. I wonder if Patinelli might have a little bit of floor damage. He did take that chicane a little weird, but I think, unfortunately, like we were talking about earlier, these curves do eat you alive. As we're jumping on board with Mark Turek of Penn College Technologies, he's in a battle with Nick Stockner from Clemson. So this is an alum battle. So this is a point battle, as it does look like Nick Stockner has just maybe gotten the better line. But these tracks, yes, the line is important. But if you can be on the gas a little bit quicker, not quick, get that wheel spin, especially through that turn, anything is possible. It does look like Stockner did have that advantage. And right behind him, though, it does look like Kiesel Jr., I believe. Actually, Kiesel Jr. is kind of joining that battle. So this is going to be a three-way battle for P12, I believe, or P11. So we're going into a very tricky turn. So anything is possible, especially when wheel spin is a factor.
Oh, Stockner goes straight.
Wow.
Nick Stockner misses the Tamburello chicane, and he's going to have to give up a couple spots there. Now Mark Turek from the Penn College Technology is under immense pressure from the Panther Esport driver of Robert Kiesel Jr., and Kiesel Jr. is going to have the inside line for the next chicane, and he'll say thank you very much and move himself back up into the 12th position after having to pit from I believe it was a 7th position at the time due to a track limits penalty from our understanding. It's very easy to do that around here, especially the next set of corners we're going to ride on board here with. You see coming up the hill You really got to be careful on this quick left-hander because it's so easy to get an off track. You can see how conservative Turek is there. He does not want to get a penalty as Robert Kiesel Jr. ahead of him is steaming away.
Yeah, and as we're getting later into the session, you can maybe send it a little wide in certain turns for things, but we're starting to get to that towards where you're starting to maybe see 15, 16 points, and you're like, one more off, and I got to drive through the pits. We're getting on board with Alexander Diamond, and that is going to be, I believe, Jason Wallace. So this is a team battle, so this battle, again, I wonder, are they in communication with each other? Are they just saying, hey, let's battle this out, or let's just use each other's drafts? I think my question we just answered is Alexander Diamond goes on the outside thinking, hey, I'm going to take him in turn one, and I'm not even sure if turn one's a buzz. He's taking him down the front straight, it looks like, so it's going to be who breaks first. Like I was saying earlier, I hope there's no George Russell Valtteri Bottas moment as we're going into turn one, and thankfully the grass isn't going to be wet, so it does look like Alexander Diamond does give the position to him, and it's just like, here, you can have it. I don't want to do anything stupid. We're just going to see them use each other's draft and maybe catch up to the Drexel University or the Bricky Palace.
Yeah, right now, closest battle on track is the fight between the Drexel teammates at the moment. Your top three right now are Mohamed Leaf. We've said that plenty of times this year at the front of the scoreboard. And then behind him is two Ball State teammates with Cale Davidson and Lucas Moody to round out your podium runners at the moment. And then Charles Wembley, a fantastic run so far, currently in the 4th position. But Jake Cummings and Alex Hallner are both behind him, and they're both charging down the newcomer from Guilford College. So we'll see how that battle develops over the next couple of laps. But right now, still Drexel University on Drexel University. Alumni versus student as Wallet defends from Diamond.
Yeah, and this battle is, like I said, I'd be very curious to know if these guys are in like a Discord communication with each other, as they are battling for positions here, but the point battle isn't as important for this specific battle. So is it maybe that Jason Wallet might say, hey, Alex, get in front of me, give me that draft, or is he just saying, I'm focused on a race, and if this battle just seems like it's starting to slip away? So Diamond may have made a little mistake, and Wallet's capitalizing on it. It does look like that lead is starting to distinguish out of what I would like to say in Formula 1 DRS zone. Of course, these Formula 4 cars do not have DRS, so that's not a factor in the race today. But this battle is just kind of distinguishing, and it does look like stuff's starting to settle down on track, and I think these guys are starting to find their groove, which, especially for a tricky track like this, hitting your marks, finding your groove is important.
Yeah, as right now we are 12 laps into this 15-lap race. I think this first race typically is about kind of getting your tires under you, getting a feel for the track and how the racing kind of develops over the course of a 15-lap sprint. But I think race 2 is where the chaos really kicks off, as you get a top 10 invert. You have drivers who are a bit quicker, who finished race 1 towards the front, like the R. Muhammad Leafs, like the Cale Davidsons, who want to make their way from 9th, 10th, 8th, all the way back to the front of the field as soon as possible, as Jake Cummings has closed down massively on Charles Wembley here over the last couple of moments. We saw that gap at about 9/10 a few corners ago. Now it's at 2/10. Can it get down to 1/10 before the next chicane? No. Wembley's still ahead, heading down into the back half of this track.
I will say, since Wembley has started driving for us, he has only impressed me. That the fact that he has not been able to sit on that top of that, even a third slot, has been impressive. It looks like he's already starting to make that gap back up, but Jake Cummings is still battling. It was a little bit later on the brakes, as we're sitting on board a beautiful angle just to give you perspective how close these guys are driving. So it does look like Jake Cummings did have the better exit out of that turn, as he's taking full advantage of that draft. You're going to take the outside lane coming down the front straight, and they are neck and neck right now. As Wembley may have just made a little mistake there, and looks like Cummings did take full advantage of it, but the first corner is always a decider, as Wembley is looking like he's thinking maybe going the inside lane, as Jake Cummings does in fact inherit that 4th position, and who knows, he might take off, as I know he's a very talented driver and a very fast Formula 4 driver. We're sitting with Alex Hallenard right behind, and he got to see all that fun action, and it's like, hey, I want to get involved.
Yeah, Alex Hallenard, who spun earlier in turn 1 and has made his way through the field very nicely, as a great recovery drive. Wants to get himself up into the top 5 that he was in earlier. A bit deep. I thought it was a bit deep into the corner, but does a good job of getting the car slowed down, using every inch of available track to get himself up to that rear wing of the Guilford College car of Charles Wembley. Charles Wembley's going to have to hold off for a couple more laps. I'm not sure if he can do it. Binghamton University is doing a great job so far of really maximizing the speed he's got in that car, and he's going to try to make a move maybe into the next chicane if he can get a good exit out of Aqua Minerale, and he does, up to the Alta chicane, the Variante Alta, as it's known in Italian, and it looks like Wembley might be under a bit of pressure here. It looks like Binghamton dives to the inside, tries to make the move, and he does. I think Wembley got a little bit spooked there, went very, very deep into the chicane, and Binghamton's Alex Hallinar up into the 5th spot. Will he be able to chase down Jake Cummings before this race is over?
I mean, with the way Jake is driving, I wouldn't be surprised if Jake does, in fact, take that, I would say a luxury with P4, but, I mean, it's a P4. It's still good points, but it's not podium, but it does look like Hallinar might be saying, hey, don't do that to me from the caster booth, because he is starting to make up time, and that gap is already down a couple of seconds. We're jumping on board one of the battles between those, I believe those are the Drexel drivers, again, of Alex Diamond and Jason Wallet, so these guys are still going at it, and I wonder, what's the tire conditions like, because we're kind of we're getting to the end of that race, and these tires are maybe starting to whine a little bit more than they were before. I believe we're one lap away from the white flag, so, but it does look like Alexander Diamond has respected his younger teammate, I believe, there as a student, so this battle may not be a battle as much as just, hey, I want to drive with my teammate. But yeah, they're coming into that first turn, and with the lead that Wallet has right now, it's going to be interesting to see. Does he just continue to drive it? As we're jumping on board, the battle for P11 between Nicholas Pinelli and Robo Kiesel Jr. As it does look like Kiesel Jr. has taken advantage going into turn 1, and it's just going to zoom off. So very unfortunate for Pinelli as this battle is starting to wind down, and like I said, the race is starting to wind down.
Yeah, Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris University was right on the tail of the Drexel University drivers earlier, but a mistake sent him a couple of seconds behind, and it's kind of just been spiraling for Patinella ever since. As Kiesel Jr. a little bit deep in the corner there. Diamond did very well, though, as we are about to start the white flag lap here. 1 lap to go in race 1 of 2 here at the Italian Grand Prix. Right now, it's our Muhammad Alif leading Davidson and Moody to lock out a Ball State podium at the moment. But the close battle on track is between the 2 Drexel University drivers of Jason Wallet in the 76, currently in 9th, and Alexander Diamond, the Drexel driver, in 10th right now, the alumni, currently trying to make a move for the 9th spot. Right now, it's going to be a Drexel front row lockout here in race 2 if things stand as they do now. We'll see how much this fight develops over the last lap. I'm not sure if they're going to try to fight this too much.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the white flag. Why would you do anything stupid? Especially the fact that these 2 guys are going to be the front row if things stay this way for the next race. Because we got to remember about that flip. And I wonder again if they're in the team's comms, so they're saying, "Hey, we got the front 2 rows. Why should we battle?" As we are coming through for the final lap with these 2, and it does look like Diamond may have had a better turn, so Diamond might be battling a little bit for that pole position, but. I mean, if I were them, I would be like, hey, you know what? A 1-2 doesn't sound too bad, as Diamond is actually going to try to take that position going into turn 1. And let's just hope these 2 guys are going to be smart about things, as Jason Wallet does have the better turn 1, and Pat Nellett is right behind him.
Yeah, and it looks like at the front of the pack right now, Jake Cummings is trying to defend from Alex Hallinar. Hallinar, who spun earlier, is trying to get up into the top 4, be the top alumni. But at the front of the field right now, it's our Muhammad Alif coming around the final corner. And our Muhammad Alif for Ball State University is going to take a resounding victory here in race 1 for Ball State University. And Ball State University will round out a podium lockout. But right now we're trying to follow this battle on track between Alex Hallinar and Jake Cummings. Can Hallinar get to the rear wing of the Wingate University driver before the final couple of corners? The gap right now is about 0.2 of a second and closing for Hallinar. I'm not sure if there's enough time. We'll see, as the gap still about 0.2 as they enter the braking zone. Hallinar is going to try to use a slipstream to the best of his advantage here out of the final corner, but Wingate University also gets a good exit, and the gap is at about 0.3 of a second and closing 2.5, but I think they're running out of time and running out of straightaway, as Wingate University's Jake Cummings is going to come across the line and lead the alumni class in the 4th overall position and 5th for Alex Hallinar after a spin in turn 1 during the first race.
That was very much a very good makeup drive by Hallinar. And I'm still impressed by his driving abilities, as he did indeed just pick this track up. As we are sitting on board that Drexel University, I don't know if it's a battle as much as these guys are just kind of driving together and, maybe having a laugh, as it does look like these are going to be, does look like Jason Wallet is going to be our number 2 sitter for the next race as a reverse grid, and Alexander Diamond will be our pole sitter for the upcoming race. So not too shabby sitting poles. It does look like Patinelli did take advantage of maybe a mistake that Kiesel made. And actually, Kiesel looks like he might be out of gas rolling up here. So that's a very interesting thing is he's coming in slowly. But it does look like Kiesel Jr. will maybe hopefully get that 12 slot. Oh!
Mark Turek comes out of nowhere and slides through to take the 12th spot for Penn College of Technology. And Kiesel Jr. slowly rolls to the finish here. Slowly rolling. He's almost there. And now, Robert Kiesel Jr. comes home across the line in 13th, and then behind him, Aiken Lamar, your last driver on track at the moment. Every other driver involved in accidents does not take the start. They are out of this race, and that is going to end your first race.
Yeah, that was a very interesting race. I'm going to be curious to see what these results were. I'm going to be curious to see what our reverse grid is going to be. So, as we said before, Mohammed Al-Falif did in fact take the win this evening, so I believe he has one possible win out of taking the championship this evening. Cale Davison, his teammate from Ball State University, is taking second. That battle is going to continue to heat up. Lucas Moody from also Ball State University is going to be sitting third. Jake Cummings from Wingate University is fourth. Alex Hallinar from Binghamton University did come fifth. Charles Wimbley came sixth from Guilford University. Andrew Burrell from Clemson University came seventh. Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University came eighth. Jason Wallach came ninth from Drexel. And his teammate, Alexander Diamond, came 10th. Nicholas Patinelli from Robert Morris came 11th. Mark Turek came 12th from Penn College Technology. Robert Kiesel Jr. from Florida International University came 13th. Aiken Lamar came 14th from Howard Community College. Tyler Klinging-Smith came 15th from Robert Morris, correction. From 16th is Nick Stockner from Clemson University. Ryan Menon from Penn College Technology came 17th. Brady Skinker from Ball State University came 18th. And then from 19th is Esteban Munoz from Florida International University. 20th was Athena Leclerc from St. Clair College. 21st was Austin DeLong from Penn College Technology. 22nd was Stuart McFarlane from Ashburn University. And to round out our 23 drivers, it's Tristan Leclerc from St. Clair College.
Yeah, very entertaining first race. I think the battles up and down the field were definitely intriguing, especially to see a couple of drivers having to fight their way back to the field after spins or penalties or whatnot. That really kind of
really
bookended that race there. Yeah,
they were very good battles, and I mean, especially knowing that the championship's starting to wind down. Like I said earlier, you've got a lot of 1-point battles for let's see here. It's Lucas Moody, Athena Leclerc is a 1-point battle between Andrew Williams, Lucas Diaz, 1-point battle. Ben Furade, Lucas Diaz, a 1-point battle. Ben Furade and Ricky Paz is battling. That's a 3-way battle for 7th. Lucas Santos and Ricky Paz, a 1-way battle for 10th. So these battles are going to be very interesting. I only grabbed a couple of the point guard. I mean, even looking over at the alumni division, Alexander Diamond and Aaron Burrow only 2 points behind. Nick Stockner is only 3 points behind. Mark Turek is 1 point. So it's going to be very interesting to see as we're going to be watching these battles. So, but I still can't believe that Alex Hallinar just picked up this track the other. He has a screenshot of it within the Discord. And he impressed me. As we're sitting on board at Jason Wallet, which he had a good race, and he's going to be sitting pole position. So I'll be very curious to see, as his teammate is sitting next to him, do they do some smart decisions and decide, hey, let's make this a team race? Or are we going to make this, hey, I'm going to try to send it in that first turn and try to take advantage? So that battle's mushing, and we have our Mohammed Al-Falif, who's sitting in 10th, that he might be trying to go for those 25 points, as those 25 points are vital in this championship. The biggest thing I'm going to be very curious to see, though, is Cale Davison. I'm not sure if my math is correct or not, but if Cale Davison does not get second place in this race, I believe our Mohammed Al-Falif will be crowned the CIL Formula C Winter 2023 champion. So I'll be curious to see, is that in the back of Cale Davison's mind as we're getting ready to get the reverse grid?
Yeah, as we have about 1 minute left In our inter-race warm-up, warm-down, cool-down, cool-up, whatever you want to call it, session, as drivers try to get their thoughts collected and kind of strategize how they want to approach the second race. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. With obviously we saw Cale Davidson was on the back of Muhammad Ali for a while, but I think a couple mistakes kind of dropped him out of the slipstream range. And it's so beneficial just to kind of be sitting right behind a driver as fast as Muhammad Ali and learning what he's doing in every corner and how you can apply that to your own racing.
Yeah, indeed. And I was just about to do some math, but yeah, you're saying the slipstream. I mean, if I remember correctly, I think Alif just kind of ran away with that. I think he was like 6 seconds ahead or something like that. So being behind somebody like that, and especially the experience that he brings that program, especially, I'm not sure how many of you guys know, but Alif has actually run official, not iRacing events, but a set of Corsair Competizione, so GT3 racing, but has officially ran things by Kunos and the GT3 League. So he's got some very good experience that he's bringing in his other teammates as we are getting ready to start this next race with the reverse grid. You want to take it away, Matt?
For sure, as our reverse grid pole sitter is Alexander Diamond from Drexel University with his Drexel teammate of Jason Wallet to his outside in P2, and Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University. We didn't hear much from him in the first race, very quiet, but he starts third in race 2. Andrew Burrell will be fourth from Clemson. Fifth will be Charles Wimbley from Guilford College. Sixth, Alex Hallinar from Binghamton. Jake Cummings from Wingate University. And seventh, Lucas Moody, Cale Davidson, and Muhammad Ali start 8, 9, and 10 for Ball State after a podium lockout in the first race. They're going to be trying to repeat that feat here in the second race for sure, I think.
Yeah, I think they are, and it's like I said, that the battle for that podium position of the championship's got to be on their mind. As his lights are about to go on. But what do you predict in this one, Matt? What do you think's going to happen?
I think we're going to see a lot of action here down into the first and second chicanes, Tamburello and Villeneuve, but the 5 lights are about to come on here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights are on, and now they're out as a great start from Alexander Diamond there. A little bit of wheel spin from Ricky Paz, and Cale Davidson gets a fantastic start and the jump on Jake Cummings as well as we go side by side in the pack right now. Charles Wimbley trying to defend right now from Ricky Paz and Alex Hallinar as Lucas Moody in that red and white Ball State car is able to hold on to his position right now. But at the front, the 2 Drexel cars are fighting side by side. It's Alexander Diamond right now at the front, and then Jason Wallet is behind, going down into Villeneuve, and they're 3 wide right now on the inside. Looks like it's Wimbley on his outside, it's Hallinar, and then the meat in that sandwich was Wallet. Oh, Wimbley and Wallet go wide in the variant of Villeneuve as all the cars behind now stream around, and you see how much red and white there is from Ball State, and just how chaotic this first race, the second race start has been here. It looks like it's Muhammad Ali going side by side with Wimbley right now.
Yeah, it looks like unfortunately Wallet Dave had a bad start as Muhammad Alif's already up into 7th position, just to tell you how good of a starter he is. And these battles are continuing as it's the first lap. They're still going to be trying to find that flow. They may have had that cooldown, but these guys are probably as locked in as they ever were because they did just come off that 15 lap race. As Alif does look like he had a little bit of a better exit as he is going to be trying to go on that is Jake Cummings at Wingate University. And there's a little bit of a brake clock up in front, and Muhammad Ali just broke as well. And unfortunately, it does look like a bunch of cars are disqualified. A car did go off, so things are getting interesting. As Cale Davison is up into 8th place as well.
Yeah, it was Alex Hallinar there who locked up into the chicane, but side by side right now it's Alif and Cummings down into this last couple of corners here before we get to the long front straightaway. Alif with the inside line, that's going to give him a good position, but Wingate University is fighting this one back as he thinks he can hold on around the outside, and he gets a good launch, but for how long he's going to try to use the slipstream of the cars in front is Lucas Moody at the moment making a move on Andrew Burrell for the second position to be the lead Ball State car at the moment. They're further back. They're 3 wide almost between Wingate, Ball State, and Guilford College going down into turn 1. It looks like Moody's ahead, and Muhammad Ali is also making the move. Oh, Moody spins on the exit of Tamburello. That's one Ball State car spinning on the exit of the corner that Alif did not want to see his teammate spinning. As Alif now tries to make his way up into 3rd on the inside of Andrew Burrell and gets that move done. Cummings is going to try to follow him through as well. And it looks like Cummings will get that move done. Burrell is kind of a sitting duck right now. He just doesn't have the momentum at the moment, and he's getting passed left, right, and center. Yeah,
and it looks like Jake Cummings is still battling, but it looks like he may have had a better exit than Alif did, but it does not look, it looks like they're side by side. There we go, this camera I can actually see. As we're going into one of those fast corners, it does look like Jake did back off a little bit and gave Alif the respect that he may deserve. Not sure if you say or not, but we got a battle between Cale Davison and Andrew Burrow, so this is a battle that maybe Alif does want to see a little bit for that championship battle, but it's his teammate as Andrew Burrow is running into, who was that?
I think it was Robert Kiesel Jr.
Yeah, and it does look like, unfortunately, it looks like one of the Penn College of Technology may have spun back there. As this battle is still heating up between Burrell and that's Kiesel Jr., I believe. As he does have that 172 of Nick Patinelli right behind him. They're starting to find that groove a little bit. And then looks like Wallet was right behind. As this battle, Jake Cummings just can't seem to get out of battles. As I believe that is Ricky Paz that he's battling, going into a thing. And it does look like Paz pushed him off a little bit. So he's going to retaliate back, coming to the front straight. We'll see.
Yeah, Ricky Paz getting his elbows out a little bit in the final couple of corners, but Jake Cummings is able to hold on, keep his foot flat through the dirt right now. And up front, Alexander Diamond has a strong 4.5 second lead. Can the Leaf chase that down? As Charles Wimbley is in the pits now, he might have some sort of damage that has affected his race, as Jake Cummings is now trying to hold on to that third spot from Ricky Paz and does so into the first chicane. So Ricky Paz was third coming out of the last corner, but going into the first corner, it's Jake Cummings and Wingate on the last step of the podium at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like Jake's making a little bit of a gap. So jumping back on board with our pole sitter, Jason Wallet. Does look like, unfortunately, he had a little bit of a bad start, but he's maybe putting that behind him and getting, hey, at a bad start, let's make up for it. Let's go chase these points. As he is currently racing the Robert Morris machine of Nicholas Patinelli. So, and it does look like Patinelli did go a little wide, so Jason might be able to make up on that position. As we are coming into some fast corners, that being quick out of those, not wheel spinning, being quick on the gas, but not wheel spinning does play a big factor.
Yeah, Nicholas Patinelli right now trying to defend and attack at the same time. Robert Morris University, not a stranger to this position. It happened to him in race 1, and it's happening again here in race 2 of the Italian Grand Prix here in the CIL, heading down into the Variante Alta, this next chicane, the tightest chicane on the track. You really got to clobber those curbs, but all the cars here staying off from that a little bit there, as we see in the background. I believe that was Bradley Skinker in the 9th position. We saw him fighting at the front in the first race, but a dive bomb, an untimely dive bomb from one of his competitors took him out of that race, as it looks like there's going to be a dive bomb here, potentially by Nicholas Patinella, and he doesn't get that move done, so he's going to have to settle for 7th at the moment as they come onto this front stretch again. In 6, 7, 8 right now is Clemson, Robert Morris, Drexel.
Yeah, and it does look like Jason Watt may have had a little bit of a better exit, but with the fact that Patinella's got Burrow in front of him, he's going to be getting that draft as well. It does look like Burrow is actually going to be losing out in this situation, as Patinella is going to try to go for that impossible dive bomb into turn 1, and it does look like contact!
Contact between Robert Morris University and Clemson University down there at Tamburello. Just 2 cars into 1 does not go, and Jason Wallet will say thank you very much. I'll slide on up. It's a bit hard to drive a car that's missing a rear wing for the Clemson University driver, so he'll have to pull that one into the pits, and he spins. I don't think he was aware that he was missing a rear wing, and he's off in the kitty litter at the Villeneuve chicane. And Jake Cummings, what has happened to him? He's dropped back into the clutches of Jason Wallet. I think it looked like Jake Cummings went off the track, and we're going to get a replay here in a moment, potentially. But right now, Ricky Paz is sitting in 3rd, and Robert Kiesel Jr., who was outside the top 10 at the start of this race, has now found himself sitting in a good position to potentially stand on the podium.
Yeah, especially with the fact that he is Robert Kiesel Jr. and Ricky Paz. They have a little bit of a history, and they're battling very well. But like you were saying, Kiesel Jr. is quite quick, as we're currently sitting on board with Jake Cummings. And unfortunately, a mistake may have costed him some heavy points, but I'll be very curious if we can get a replay of that. Maybe he just won the gas a little too early, but it does look like he's found that rhythm. Is like, push that to the side, like I was saying about Jason Wallet, who is impressively back up into 6th position. So it does look like the battle up front is starting to heat up between Ricky Paz and Kiesel Jr.'s. And let's see here, does it look like Kiesel Jr., it looks like he may have had a better exit out as we're sitting on board, as he did indeed looks like he had a good battle, as he's gone a little wide, taking all of the curbing over there, and Paz is still sitting on top of him. So we're going to that first corner, and we'll see who takes advantage of the speed.
Yeah, there's that straightaway is not quite straight, as now Kiesel Jr. has the inside line into the first chicane, a little bit deep, and that might give Ricky Paz the opportunity to fight this one back and maybe get back into that last step of the podium, as Muhammad Alif at the front of the pack has closed it within a couple tenths of our leader of Alexander Diamond, as Kiesel Jr. stays ahead into the Villeneuve chicane on coming down towards the hairpin here. So right now it's Kiesel Jr. on the third step of the podium at the moment. It looks like our Muhammad Alif, though, is about to get that top step of the podium from Alexander Diamond here any moment now.
You have to be very curious to see how Alexander Diamond handled this situation, as Diamond has been driving very well, but he also probably understands the fact that Alif might be a little quicker than him, but we are going into some tricky sections for overtaking, so Alif may not try to go for it now, but you might wait till that first turn, which is a prime opportunity to overtake, but Alexander Diamond doesn't seem like he's that, disturbed by the fact that he's got the current student champion leader right behind him. Is he's just kind of driving his race and just like, hey, he's behind me, so be it. As Leaf did look like he may have had a little bit of a better exit, but Diamond's still chugging along.
Yeah, you just saw how planted Leaf's car looked through that chicane over the curbs. Riding on board the rear wing of Alexander Diamond, we saw how bumpy it was and how aggressive he was in the curbs, but Alif just makes it look so silky smooth. And coming out of the final corner, the gap right now 3/10. How much will that gap close by the time they get to Tamburello? This straightaway, as you mentioned last time through, not quite straight, a flat out right-hander. That's turn 19. This is technically not a turn. Another flat right-hander. They go a long sweeping left-hander into Tamburello, which is what makes that corner so difficult, but not for our Muhammad Alif, as he's looking to the inside to make the pass for the lead, and he does. That's Ball State University back on the top step of the podium here, and potentially a championship clinching move there.
I was gonna say, I think this drive has just proven how good of a driver, and honestly, I would say how deserving Alif really is for that championship win today. But that was a very impressive move, and Alexander Diamond just kind of let it happen. Honestly, if I was in his position, I don't think I'd be fighting him, because that was beautiful. And plus, that is a student driver, and Alexander Diamond is in fact an alum driver, so he's still winning his division. But these battles are starting to kind of wind down a little bit, as we are jumping on board a battle. Cale Davison, his teammate, who's battling him for the points, and that is going to be Nicholas Patinelli, again, in battles with the Robert Morris car. But it does look like Cale Davison is going to take advantage of a mistake that Patinelli made behind, so Cale Davison's going to be probably happy with that mistake and just going to keep trucking along.
Yeah, Cale Davison has started this race in ninth, down 3 spots right now. I think he was off in the gravel at one point, so he's trying to fight his way back through the field. And right now, the battle for the last podium spot heating up at the moment, as Ricky Paz is within half a second of Florida International's Robert Kiesel Jr. Kiesel Jr. had a penalty in the first race that dropped him out of the top 10, and now he's up 10 spots here in race 2 from 13th to 3rd. But for how much longer can he hold on? Ricky Paz from Valparaiso. Oh, Kiesel Jr. is off in the gravel. That's the last podium spot seen slipping away from the Panther Esports driver of the 42 car. And it looks like Ricky Paz will say thank you very much and slide himself right up into the 3rd position for Valparaiso.
Yeah, Ricky Paz has been impressing all season, so I think that's a very deserving position, as it does look like Kiesel Jr. is going to be charging back, as I see those delta times coming down. So this is going to be a very heated battle, I think, and Kiesel Jr. has impressed, and especially around this track, he hasn't made too many mistakes, and especially in a championship battle like this, mistakes are capitalized, like you just saw. Looking ahead a little bit, Alif is just running away with this. He's almost 2 seconds ahead. That's a very impressive drive by him. I don't know about you, Matt, but I don't think anybody's going to catch him tonight.
Yeah, Alif has been dominant all season long. I think he's won at least one race at every event this season. But right now, it looks like there was a bit of an incident or moment between Jake Cummings and Jason Wallet. Not quite sure what happened there. Looks like Jake Cummings went off the track, and that gave Wallet the position. We're going to get a replay of what happened here, coming down into the second chicane, the Villeneuve chicane. All looks good so far, and I guess on exit, he hit the curb, and that just sent his car way out wide. And once you're in the gravel, it typically slows you down. You don't see many drivers get faster on gravel unless they're in rallycross.
Yeah, and indeed, and that was a great save that, wouldn't have happened in the last update. I will say that there is this myth that you can be faster in gravel and iRacing since the new update, but you saw right there that Jake Cummings wasn't able to take advantage. We're jumping on board Muhammad Alif's teammate of Lucas Moody of Ball State car, battling that PCT car of Austin DeLong, as he took that curb a little hard. Lucas Moody was not able to take advantage of it, but it looks like he had a better exit out as they're right on top of each other as we're going into one of the more tricky turns of the track to take advantage. And Austin DeLong is just going full defensive, and it's clean racing. So as long as it's clean, I say race on, battle on. Austin DeLong did have a good exit out, and Lucas Moody's starting to lose a little bit of time, but they're still standing on top of each other as we come into this aforementioned turn that we call turn 19, even though it's basically a straight. I'll be curious to see, does Moody try to dive bomb him going into turn 1?
Yeah, Moody's using all the slipstream he can and then diving it to the inside of that sweeping left-hander. Can Lucas Moody for Ball State move himself up one more spot past Austin DeLong of Penn College of Technology? And he does, but he clobbers over the curbs in doing so. That's going to give DeLong the opportunity to maybe make a pass again into the next set of chicanes. We see on your timing tower, Paz and Kiesel Jr. are swapping right now for that third spot. We'll get a look at that battle here momentarily, but Moody stays ahead of the moment as the battle for the last podium spot is still red hot.
Yeah, and we're even looking up front here. This is the podium spot, like you were saying, and Ricky Paz is looking impressive as you do see Bravo Kiesel Jr. go a little wide. So Kiesel Jr. might be battling a little bit with regards to track limits. So he's maybe gonna lose some time a little bit because he's got to watch those track limits, and he could get a 30-second penalty, which would be very unfortunate. It's a drive-through penalty, which is very unfortunate for him at 2 races in a row, as it does look like Paz has been faster, but Kiesel Jr. was quicker through that chicane, so we are coming in some of the tricky parts of this track that mistakes are capitalized on.
Yeah, Kiesel Jr. obviously a penalty in race 1 for too many off tracks. I'm sure he's keeping that ever present in the back of his mind as we head down into Ravazza, the last 2 real corners on this track, as you see how much curbs Kiesel Jr. is taking, and that might have been another off track there for the FIU driver, so he's got to be careful because the more off tracks he gets, the less aggressive he can be later on in this race, as we see position swapping at the bottom of the field between Bannon and Klingensmith right now. We also see a battle heating up between Jason Wallet and Jake Cummings. Gap right there between those 2 drivers, currently at 3/10. We saw Cummings go wide earlier. We'll see what he can do into turn 1 now.
Yeah, Jake has been very impressive in turn 1 as we're jumping back on board to this Alexander Diamond battle between his teammate Jason Wallet and it does look like Kiesel Jr. is even involved in this battle. So we're gonna check that replay of what was this replay of?
It's Alexander Diamond. He was in second and then he went off the track. Coming down into turn 1. Looks like he just went way too deep into the corner, way over the curbs, and he spun. I think he tried to think he could make the corner, but he couldn't. Getting back on track in front of the fight for the last podium spot, which now turns into second and third.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Like I said, this track is not forgiving, so unfortunately that our second sitter is currently sitting in 4th, but he has been very impressive as we're now going back to this second position battle now between Ricky Paz of Alparino University and that FIU car of Robert Kiesel Jr. as we are going into some of the more treacherous part of this track. And they also do have to have in the back of their mind that we're more than halfway. We just passed the halfway point, so we've got 6 laps left. So you got to start thinking about, especially in that Kiesel situation, as we were saying, he went off track twice last lap. So I believe it's 17x is what we're having. So off track counts as 1. So he can only go off 17 times before he's penalized. So he's got to be thinking about, hey, do I maybe take that dive bomb as much as I want to through corners?
Yeah, and now you also think about how aggressive do you want to be. You're already on the podium. How much do you really want that second place? Kiesel, he really wants it because he's right underneath the rear wing of Valparaiso, and he's going to look to the inside here, down towards this quick left-hander, and then into the heavy braking zone of Tamburello. You want to brake right around the 100-meter board. Looks like he's going to have the inside line. Can he hold on? He does, but looks like Ricky Paz is going to try to use the outside line and try to pull a bit of an over-under type move and use the momentum to get back at the FIU driver. Can he get the move done into the Villeneuve chicane? Looks like he's going to go very deep on the brakes, and he go way deep into the corner there. I was worried he was going to get into the back of Kiesel Jr. and spin him out, but they all stay with all 4 wheels on the track right now, and it looks like Jake Cummings has also got past Jason Wallet as well. So, Robert Kiesel Jr. up into second here. Art Muhammad Alif is way up the road. Probably not going to catch him with only 5.5 laps to go, and Alif being as fast as he is, but maybe Alif makes a mistake, you don't know.
And speaking of Alif, I did just get word from Race Control that we do believe that if he does win this race this evening, he will be crowned the champion. So that might be in the back of his head as he might be still driving hard, but he might be backing off a little bit in certain corners as he has a 14-second gap. So, but speaking of a 14-second gap, we are not seeing one between this battle that's heating up as we have 5 laps and it's Kiesel Jr. versus that Ricky Paz. And it's just things are just heating up. I think that fire is still stirring. It is in fact race number 2 of the night. So some of these guys maybe are going to start sending things. We're getting closer to the end of it, being like, hey, I'm going to leave everything on this track.
For sure, as coming through Ravazza, we saw Kiesel Jr. wide here earlier. Will he get a good exit this time? And I think he does. Riding on board with Ricky Paz down the long straightaway. That gap slowly decreasing at the moment. That slipstream effect coming into play now. Will Valparaiso be able to get to that rear wing and make a move down into Tamburello? You see that gap closing very quickly now. Going defensive for the FIU driver. He's taken all the inside line. Can Valparaiso make a move around the outside? I don't think he can. Oh, a little bit on the grass there. That's going to hurt his braking performance, but a very good job to keep all 4 wheels pointing in the same direction right now as FIU is able to hold on to that second spot at the moment. Alexander Diamond about 2 seconds back from this battle for the podium right now, so we'll see if the fighting between FIU and Valparaiso can bring Drexel and potentially even Wingate back into this fight.
Yeah, it does look like, I mean, Diamond, that gap is going a little bit, but it does look like battling is helping him. It's battling in real life, you know, I'm not saying this in real life, but it's the same, but battling in actual racing always does help bring somebody back. So this battling, Alexander Diamond's got to absolutely love it. As much as it sucks not being in second, he's got to love the possibility if he might be able to do some last lap heroics. As you see, Kiesler Jr. go wide, but you gotta love last lap heroics. Like you look back with Lando Norris a couple years ago, had a great last lap. So we might see that out of, you know, Alexander Diamond and Jake Cummings as we're sitting on board with Ricky Paz going down a very long straight that's gonna result in some hard braking coming into this chicane.
Yeah, you see Kiesel Jr. a little bit defensive into the chicane. Who's going to get a better... Oh, a little bit loose there from Ricky Paz. The rear end of that FIA Formula 4 car just kicking out as he clobbered over one of those curbs, and that's going to hurt his exit, but he's still within a couple tenths as they head down into Ravazza. 17 and 18 on this track. It looks like you see how much curb they both take over that inside. Those left side tires, you see the back end also getting out of Ricky Paz right now, but the gap now 2 tenths. It's about a tenth smaller than it was this time last lap, and we saw how fast Ricky Paz got to the back of that FIU rear wing, and he's going to do it again.
Yeah, it does look like Ricky Paz is very much on top of Kiesel Jr. So it's going to be, I'll be curious to see, does one of them have to break? As behind Jakeson Wallet and Jake Cummings are battling, and Ricky Paz takes the move going into turn 1. Good.
I'll say a great move around the outside from Valparaiso University. I'm not sure if Kiesel Jr. was a bit hesitant, knowing that he just wanted to stand on the podium, but it's very rare you see a move around the outside like that into Tamburello, and Ricky Paz pulled that off to perfection.
Like you were saying, there might be just the thought process, hey, a third position, as much as second is great, just confirmation of getting on that podium is great, as we're going right back on board with that move, on board with Ricky Paz. Looks like he may have just had the better leeway going into it, and Kiesel Jr. was like, you know what, he's got the better race pack. So, and sometimes just giving up a spot, as much as it sucks, is helpful, as you can get that draft, is that outside lane. Yeah, it does look like Kiesel Jr. may have gotten on the brakes a little bit, was like, I'll just take your draft. Sometimes that's the right decision.
Yeah, that gap now at about 8 tenths of a second as Ricky Paz is coming out of Aqua Minerale right now, heading down towards that chicane we were riding on board with him for our last lap. As I think Kiesel Jr. is a bit stronger through some of the chicanes, but I think in this middle sector of the track, Ricky Paz has been very, very strong, and I'm not sure if there's enough time for the 2 Drexel cars behind right now, Jason Wallet and Jake Cummings, to catch up. But the battle between Wallet and Cummings has been incredible this race so far. Those two have been swapping positions left and right, and now 2 Ball State cars of Lucas Moody and Bradley Skinker have joined that battle to finish in the top 5.
Yeah, this battle, these 2 guys have been battling tremendously well, and it's just back and forth, which is great for the action, but it may not be the best for both fuel and tires, as we did see in race 1, we had somebody running out of fuel coming down the line, so they maybe have to put that in the back of their head that, hey, I want to finish this race, because 5th and 6th are they're not bad positions for points. So the points grab is you do see that Ball State car right behind Jake Cummings catching up, as we are currently on board with Jake Cummings going through turn 1 and 2, which are very fast turns. It does look like Jason Watt may have gone a little wider right there, but Jake Cummings is not able to capitalize on it. Yeah,
down into the Villeneuve chicane, which leads into Tosa. underneath the bridge there, I don't think Jason Wallet is too worried right now. He's running a very, very good race in the top 5 at the moment after starting on pole position due to the top 10 invert. The gap right now, though, about 3/10 between Drexel and Wingate, and then right behind Wingate is Ball State's Lucas Moody. So this battle is heating up, and it's going to be interesting to see how this develops over the next couple laps. As once we get to the line, there'll only be 2 laps to go here in the second race at the Italian Grand Prix for the Formula C Championship. Into Aqua Minerale, you see how deep Jake Cummings is on the brakes there. He really closed up to the back of Jason Wallet, but Jason Wallet is able to get a great exit out of that corner, and he's able to pull away into the next chicane.
Yeah, and even looking behind him, Jake Cummings does have that pressure of Lucas Moody right behind him. Even Brady Skinker is keeping up with this battle a little bit, so Jake Cummings is probably getting a little bit itchy to make that move so you have that pressure behind, but it does look like Alexander Diamond might be holding them up just a little bit, but Diamond is still driving a relatively good race as we are getting ready to go two to the flags. So this battle is going on, and it does look like they are fighting up front, as it looks like Robert Kiesel Jr. is able to take that second position back from Ricky Paz. We're gonna go on board. We're gonna go see that replay of what exactly happened. As we're coming into what I would say is the last couple sections of turns. Is Ricky Paz, did he just go in wide? Oh, we lost it a little bit going into turn 19, or 18, correction. So that's an unfortunate mistake as we are going to the last 2 laps as Robert Kiesel Jr. is able to take advantage. And we are jumping right on board to another action as Jake Cummings is battling Alexander Diamond right now, and even the Ball State driver, Jason Wallet, correction, is battling as we are getting a couple 3-way battles for, I believe, fourth position.
Yeah, this is the fight for 5th, 6th, and 7, and 8 right now. So a lot of our top 10 drivers have all caught each other with only a couple laps to go right now. And Jake Cummings is leading this pack, as you see Lucas Moody in the red Ball State car, and that's Bradley Skinker in the green and purple Ball State car, a little unique compared to his teammates. It makes it easy for it to be identified as Bradley Skinker, as right now at the front on the last podium spot, it looks like Ricky Paz is trying to make a move around the outside of Robert Kiesel Jr. into Aqua Minerale. That move is very, very difficult around the outside, but Ricky Paz knows there's only a couple of corners to go. One more lap when they get back to the line, so he wants to use every single corner he can to maybe get back up into that second position. And here comes Alexander Diamond. He was sitting in second position for a long, long time, and Art Muhammad Ali now takes the white flag, as Diamond, a spin cost him second position. He wants to get back on the podium here on the last lap.
Yeah, and I bet you with this battling between Robert Kiesel Jr. and Ricky Paz is going to make him love it, but it does look like Kiesel Jr. doesn't want to let them get to this battle, as Alexander Diamond just keeps inching closer and closer and closer to Ricky Paz. But who knows, if one of these drivers makes a mistake, Diamond might be right back in this battle. But if we're sitting on board with Ricky Paz, it does look like he's got that slipstream, which is a very powerful thing in this cars, as he is going to get to about tire to tires. We're on board Alexander Diamond to watch this amazing move, hopefully, in it, as Ricky Paz is taking advantage, and it's going to currently be sitting P2, as Kiesel Jr. did back off a little bit to give him the respect. Alexander Diamond is leading up to this battle for second position.
Yeah, a great move from Ricky Paz there. That's twice now he's gone around the outside of Tamburello, and further on back that fight for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We see Lucas Moody has prevailed out of those cars right now to get up into 5th, and then 6th it's Jake Cummings at the moment, with Bradley Skinker and Jason Wallet right behind. But going for second position right now, it's going to be Robert Kiesel Jr. and Florida International. He looked to the outside, he's going to look to the inside, down into turn 10. It's a very, very fast corner. It's very difficult if you're not careful. You can lose the rear end of the car very easily, but all cars stay pointed forward so far. Down into Aqua Minerale, can Robert Kiesel Jr. dive down the inside and potentially take that second place away? He cannot, as that gap grows to about 5/10 of a second. But at the front of the pack right now, it's R. Muhammad Ali coming across the line here momentarily to take the Formula C Championship this season and 2 dominating races for the Ball State driver. R. Muhammad Ali is your Formula C CIL champion.
Yeah, he very much deserves it. Let's get back on board with this battle. This race is not over in any shape or form, and you can see Robert Kiesel Jr. is thinking that exact same thing, as he wants that second position, as Ricky Paz is like, it's not going to happen, as we're going around 2 of the more tricky corners of this track, and it does look like, pending anything happening, Kiesel Jr. is going to unfortunately have settle with 3rd, as Ricky Paz will be 2nd place, which those are not too bad positions, as Alexander Diamond, unfortunately, with that spin, does have a recovery drive, but comes back in 4th, as you got Lucas Moody from Ball State University coming 5th, and Jake Cummings coming in 6th from Wingate.
Yeah, a great race as your last points paying positions are coming across the line now. Austin DeLong in ninth for Penn College of Technology will take the checkered flag from Barney. And oh no, he might have run out of fuel. He has given up the position. Aiken Lamar at the line, 53 thousandths of a second, will take that ninth spot over Austin DeLong. I'm not sure what happened there. I would imagine that fuel maybe played a factor as DeLong is continuing to roll down the front straightaway. As DeLong goes from 9th to 10th at the line, that gap, the exact same we saw in the Brazilian Grand Prix for F1 this past weekend.
That's kind of funny that you pointed that out as we're just kind of sitting on board as Nick Stockner is going to take 12th. And that is going to be I believe it's Mark Turek going to be battling out for 12th and 13th. And then we got the two Robert Morris cars that may not make it. We'll see if still as we're sitting on board with the newly crowned champion of Formula C Fall 23 champion, Muhammad Ali. I tip my hat to him. He has had an absolutely dominant season and has shown that he deserves that championship than anybody else. I don't know about you, Matt, but it's been an absolute pleasure to watch a driver of his caliber win this championship.
Yeah, he's been an incredible driver all year long, and he's taking some well-earned donuts to celebrate here. Absolutely incredible season, incredible consistency all season long as well. So he takes our student championship here in the Formula C series for the CIL. So that's one championship wrapped up, and there's still the alumni champion to crown in the next couple of races, so be sure to tune in there. And I'm sure we're going to get to hear from our podium finishers here momentarily as well, so we'll get to hear all the thoughts from Muhammad Ali and his championship run this season.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear what he's got to say, as he's been very dominant. And now that he can maybe put the thought of, getting a championship behind him, does he maybe have another mindset of maybe trying to help his teammates secure second, third, and fourth position? So we'll have to definitely ask him when he comes up here. But we've had good battles across the board, especially that second position, that battle that was convincing. I believe it was Ricky Paz that ended up getting second position, and Robert Keister Jr. third. So there was just good battling across the track. I'm excited to talk to all these drivers because, again, this was some very, very competitive and very good respecting racing.
Yeah, for sure. As our champion is taking some time to collect his thoughts, but I think we're going to get to hear from some of our drivers here who finished on the podium tonight. And I think it's going to be our third place finisher and Robert Kiesel Jr. coming home in third tonight, joining us in the booth. Robert, you got a copy?
Hi. Yes. Hi. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Robert, great race between you and Ricky Paz there in the second race, but I kind of want to go back to the first race and kind of what happened there. Obviously, we saw a drive-through penalty. Was that for just too many off tracks, too many incident points?
Yeah, certainly. Today was, I think, by far one of my worst performances out of all the rounds that we had before. So honestly, I'm driving with a little bit of fever, and I wasn't there for the last for Watkins because I had a car accident. So yeah, today's performance was terrible, and I'm actually very surprised by this result. So yeah, I mean, honestly, the first heat was really difficult for me. I had no prior practice before starting in this round, so literally I went all dark into this one. And but yeah, basically 100% off tracks. And yeah, that fight with Ricky right at the end was really exciting. I was really running on fumes. I believe he was also running on fumes. The fuel was very tight this round, so yeah, it was a really good really good fight.
So, but you say that fight. I mean, was that fight something you want to continue to do, or are you more of the driver that just likes to stay in that clean air, like somebody like Muhammad Ali, who is constantly up front? Do you like battling in the car, or do you rather fresh air?
To be honest with you, I was on the verge of having a DQ or a drive-through right when I was fighting with Ricky, and I was also running on fumes. So there was something I really didn't want to fight him. I felt like I had the upper hand on him throughout the whole race and through heat one and through heat two. But I really didn't really want to fight him in this one and then get a drive-through. So usually I would stay out of these fights and just try to take it a little bit slower than the rest.
Well,
Awesome.
Robert, that was super fun watching you battle tonight on track, and obviously hope you're feeling better, fighting a fever, and coming out and finishing on the podium in what you say is one of your worst races is definitely an impressive feat. But before we send you on your way, is there anybody you want to thank or shout out on the broadcast?
I'll definitely want to thank my teammates over at FIU for sure, Esteban, our division, Luis, who wasn't unfortunately able to compete with us today, but I think we're going to come back way stronger in the next round for sure. And try to battle. Ball State is really out of their game right now, so we're trying our best right here at FIU to at least have a battle with them. But yeah, definitely thank you to you guys especially. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming up. Hopefully that fever goes away tomorrow and you can get back on to practicing for next week's race.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah, great interview there from Robert Kiesel Jr. out of Florida International University. A great fight with our second place finisher tonight, Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University. Ricky, welcome up here to the booth. It was super fun watching you make some aggressive moves around the outside of Tamburello. Go ahead, walk us through how aggressive were you willing to get on those last couple laps? We saw you fighting pretty intensely.
Well, this is my first full season in Formula 4 College Series, so I was hoping that we could get a podium this season. I've been close a couple times. I was close at Hockenheim, and knowing that I was fighting for P3, I was kind of right in with Robert there, and I knew that he was gonna struggle with fuel, and so I was saving from the beginning. He was holding me up with saving fuel, and so there was a couple times where I was like, "Is this where I go? Is this where I go?" And finally got around him on the last lap and made it stick. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome racing with him too. He was a great sport.
So being that you're challenging for that, you wanted that podium really badly. Is there something are you gonna push even harder the next coming races? We still have 3 more races to go, or are you satisfied with one tonight?
No, we're fighting for points in the championship just like everyone else. Valparaiso's in the student championship and the overall championship, and I'm sitting right outside 15th in the overall championship. So my initial goal is top 15, and don't see why we can't push for top 10 with some good momentum from Imola tonight.
Awesome.
Awesome, Ricky. Well, it was super fun watching your race tonight. Very entertaining up here in the booth, and you definitely made some spectacular moves around the outside of some drivers in a Tamburello. But before we send you on your way this evening, is there anybody you want to thank or shout out on the broadcast?
Just thanks to my parents and friends for always supporting me in the CIL endeavors. Thanks to Valpo Esports and Overton Speed Shop for always helping me be the best competitor that I can be. And thanks to my wonderful girlfriend, Hallie.
Well, awesome, Ricky. Congratulations on the podium finish once again. Hope to see you up here in the booth again sometime soon, man.
10-4. Thanks, guys.
And that was your second place overall finisher on the podium. It was Ricky Paz out of Valparaiso University. Not super often we get to talk to him up in the booth, but when we do, it's always a treat. But one driver who I think it's his first ever alumni class win. It's Alexander Diamond out of Drexel University. Ran a very, very good race. Alex, you got a copy?
I'm here and I am upset with myself already.
Go ahead. Obviously, we saw the spin on the broadcast, so walk us through kind of what happened there from your perspective.
Coming out of race 1, I crossed the finish line sputtering all the way out of fuel, so I knew from the start of race 2 I needed to fuel save from the very beginning, and I was so focused on my delta and focused on my fuel delta that I just missed my braking point and realized, oh, I need to brake again into Tamburello, and it just didn't go, and locked up, spun it around. I'll salvage a P4 and I'll take an alumni class win, but that could have been a lot better if I had just kept my eyes up and not basically texting and driving. Never text and drive. That's the moral of this story.
Yeah, indeed, it sounds like it. Yeah, I was cheering for you. I'm not gonna lie, it was very entertaining watching you with that battle between you and Alif. But you were saying that now that you're the winner, you're very much in that battle for third position. So, do you have any targets in mind? I mean, obviously winning, but do you have targets in mind that you want to get the next couple of weekends, or are you just kind of coming out here and driving the car and just hoping for good results?
For me, it's really come out here as much as I can, trying to take on as many alumni. I'll keep an eye on the relatives, see who's ahead of me. If they're student class, I might back off a little bit just to make sure I don't X out as well, because I was also at risk of that as well tonight. It's finished at 12 out of 13. So I was crossing the line very safely, but yeah, going forward, it's looking forward to battles with Jay Cummings and all the other alumni out there who are in and around where I am, and just looking forward to good battles with them. It should be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, Alex, obviously we saw you having a great second race. A bit lonely at times in the second race, but still entertaining, especially with the drivers up in front of you kind of fighting and bringing you back into it. And super fun watching you, and congratulations on the alumni class win once again. But before we send you on your way this evening, anybody want to thank or shout out on the broadcast?
Yeah, thank you to Drexel University and Drexel Esports for letting me take on the mantle here. I am the only alumni class here, and I'm hoping to bring a few more on, hopefully down the road soon enough. Thank you to my teammate Jason, who was out there in the first race. He gave me a little bit of a tow every now and then to help me across the line with very little fuel. But all around, also thank you to CIL for putting this on, and so I can hopefully get at least a podium sometime soon. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations once again, Alex. It was super fun watching your race, and hope to see you up here in the booth again soon.
Appreciate it. So do I. Thank you.
That was your alumni class winner, Alex Diamond from Drexel University, talking to us. A bit eventful second race for him. I didn't realize he was so close to sputtering across the line there in race one, Keith.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was very interesting to watch. But it's also going to be interesting, I guess, to listen to. It's going to be our newly crowned FC Fall Champion. You want to bring him on up?
Absolutely, and it's going to be R. Muhammad Alif from Ball State University, mathematically clinching the student title in tonight's race with 2 race victories, and his teammate not being able to finish second in that second race really clinched it for him. So, Alif, how are you feeling right now? Congratulations.
Oh, feeling great. Very thankful, obviously. All the hard work I think that's been going on, really paying off tonight, and yeah, just really super happy for to clinch the championship.
So now that the championship's clinched, it's a question I said I was going to ask earlier, but now that it's clinched, are you going to kind of sit back and become more of a coaching role in the sense with your teammate trying to battle? Or are you going to still be, in that mindset of, I'm going to get as many points, as many wins, possibly go for, I would say, the Verstappen season and win as much as you possibly can?
Yeah, I think as a racing driver, naturally you want to just win everything. But obviously, I've been the whole season I've been coaching my drivers to get up there with me. We've got our own clauses and everything, to like performance clauses within us that we're still trying to achieve, and I think that's the main target from now on.
Awesome,
Alif. Obviously, super impressive first race. You had a Ball State podium lockout. That podium lockout, how much does that just go to show how far Ball State's come this year, getting a whole podium lockout, as well as a couple drivers who are maybe new to the CIL?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the podium lockouts, I'd say amazing, because we've got academy drivers who are also up there running with the varsity drivers, and obviously I think a lot of the motivation kind of came from how last season ended for Formula. Losing that championship in that way wasn't the best. So this season was all about just maximizing all our potential and trying to get these guys up there with me, and hopefully they'll be closer to me next season so that we can have more battles up front.
Yeah, I hope the same. So, as always, again, congratulations on winning this championship. Is there anybody you want to shout out tonight on the broadcast?
Yeah, for sure. My whole team, Ball State Esports, the whole program. I think this is our 4th championship title in the racing team. So, big shout out to them. Big shout out for all the support that Ball State has given us. Dean Turner, Dan, BK, who are our directors, esports directors, and RLL Racing as well for supporting this program. Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing Team, and the whole program really. I think this championship goes out to the whole program, the whole school, and we'll be back next season for sure.
Well, awesome, Alif. Congratulations once again, double race win and clinching the student championship. Obviously, I'm sure we'll see you up here in the booth again sometime soon, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, once again, that was our Muhammad Leaf, our student champion here in the CIL Formula C Championship. A fantastic season from him, super consistent. Very rarely did he get into any incidents or had any mistakes, which really took him out of the running for podiums at every race this season.
Yeah, he really didn't. I think, if I remember correctly, the only race that he didn't win was Watkins Glen, and he unfortunately made a little mistake that he doesn't believe may have been a penalty, but race control did. But like I said, he is really becoming the I would say the Verstappen of our league, because he just doesn't seem to stop. Like, actually, they're joking in the Discord right now and just changed the interview channel to the Leaf podcast just to tell you how dominant he's been. And I don't know about you, Matt, but this has been an absolute pleasure to watch somebody like him with his skills racing in a league like this, and especially beating the opportunity to cast him.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show how high the level of competition is here in the CIL. Alif is super talented in all forms of sim racing and different, not only in iRacing with GT3s and open wheels and even oval, as you know, he's not an experienced oval racer, but he's caught up to speed so quickly. But also obviously other sims, ACC, Gran Turismo, anything you could think of. Alif is just an absolute machine when he comes to it. He approaches every race with the same mindset of, he's going to win this race. That's what he's thinking as he grids up. And it goes to show just, how impressive it's been all season to watch. And I think now that he's got the championship secured, I wouldn't be surprised to see if he kind of lets his guard down a little bit, has a bit more fun in these races. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and you were saying, I just want to point this out, you were saying with the oval, if I remember correctly, he missed the oval playoff. So we run Monday night leagues. For those who don't know, we run this series and a cup series on Monday night, and they are now running into playoffs. He missed playoff cup by like 10 points. So just to give you perspective, this man is a very talented multi-class driver, and jumping from sim to sim is not an easy feat. So it's impressive. And like you were saying, it's going to be interesting to see, does he lay back and more be like a coaching role and less of a driver? Like, you're still going to have, like he said, he's still going to have that urge to win. Everybody does. If you don't have that urge to win, you shouldn't be sim racing, I think. But you were saying maybe let Cale Davison win one. Maybe let Lucas Moody win. We'll see, as we do have 3 weeks to go. And we got some very interesting things lined up the next couple weeks. You want to go give the schedule away, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. Excuse me, as we wrap up our Italian Grand Prix here. Be sure to tune in next week on Wednesday, same time, same place, as our drivers stay on this side of the Atlantic Ocean and head over to Spain to take on the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. That'll be a fun race to watch. Be sure to tune in Wednesday, same time, same place. And if you're looking for more CIL Cup action, we heard Keith mention the playoffs. The playoffs have started, and round one has finished up over at Kansas. But next week, we go to the wild card round at Talladega for the Alabama 199. So be sure to tune in on Monday nights to watch some CIL Cup action in the playoffs. It's going to get very heated as our drivers take on the high banks of Dega. But I think that's about going to do it for us here tonight, Keith. So for everybody here at the CIL who makes this production possible, the drivers, the broadcasters, the producers, and everyone behind the scenes, we want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's CIL production of the Formula C series. Be sure to tune in next week for more CIL action. But for now, it's going to do it for us. As always, stay fast.